Was it seduction or revolution? Deception or murder? Nothing is what it seems in a town like Twin Peaks. Starring Kyle MacLachlan, Michael Ontkean, Lara Flynn Boyle, Sherilyn Fenn, and Joan Chen. And now you can fall back into the mystery, or begin your search for the first time every Tuesday night with a new episode hosted by a panel of superfans. Watch live for the audio commentary. No one is innocent in a town like Twin Peaks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American YouTube Ronin, and Twin Peaks superfan. I'd like to welcome you to Live from Sparkwood and 21. This broadcast chronicles the 1990s cult classic TV series Twin Peaks, created by David Lynch and Mark Frost. And tonight we are going to do something special. Tonight, my panel takes over the show because they've done something that I have never been able to do, and that is to actually attend a Twin Peaks fan convention. And tonight, we are going to hear all about it. But before we do that, I do want to acknowledge everybody who is in the chat with us tonight, starting with FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim, host of Films with Friends, the creator of the 10-word review, Big Al Presents. Deleted Scenes, yeah, he's okay, I guess. Channel member, Loyal Blue Wrench, the bird woman of YouTube. Watch out for her second channel, Fluff Chick Productions, Connie Cleary. Channel member JPRPH1. Friend of the channel Enigma Severus. The tired midnight blogger himself, Curtis Selby. She of the smoldering new avatar, Nutters Network. Plush Time TV in the house. Aged Boomer saying hello. All right. On with the show. Aged Boomer.
Oh, I'm here.
Yes.
I never went to a Twin Peaks convention. I did go to a Star Trek convention once in the 6th grade, if that's close enough.
Okay, no.
I saw James.
Sorry.
Good evening, everyone.
And of course, Troy Pacelli. You were saying, Boomer. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I saw James Doohan. Does that not count for anything?
It does. It does.
Okay, all right. He was Scotty.
Right on. All right. So
were there a lot of scarves at that convention? I'm sorry, because
scarves,
long scarves. I'm just saying.
All right. Now, when it comes to fan conventions where you've actually met the actors who appear on these shows and in these films, I would have to say I'm a bit of a novice there. That's never occurred. Unfortunately, maybe sometime down the line I will. And, that's why we do have Troy and Netter here tonight, especially because they have been to the conventions. So this is the episode where they're going to take over and tell you their stories. And hopefully we will have there will be a slideshow or a video.
Yeah, I'm still working on the slideshow, unfortunately.
Okay. Unfortunately. Okay.
We
have time.
Oh, okay. Well, there's also the taste test, unless we wanted to wait on that for a bit.
Yeah. I have to do this. I can't go on camera just yet.
No, it's fine. It's
okay,
fine.
fair enough.
It's a one-man show here, guys.
So...
All right. Well,
did you miss Twin Peaks deleted scenes after it went off the air? Did you ever long to find out what happened afterwards? Because you had Fire Walk with Me. What did you do in the interim period? In fact, I guess to now, but yeah.
Well, I'm kind of still on that journey, technically. Yeah. And, well, it has to go back to the way I always thought the show was originally going to end. How I thought the show was going to end, not necessarily what David Lynch or Mark Frost, or as it turns out, the network executives had in mind. Now, we have the line that we've been using for the last few weeks, and that's see you in 25 years. My theory of the ending of the original series, the ABC series, was that it was going to take Cooper 25 years to solve the case. That, but he was going to have to go through this whole other odyssey before he got there. You see, I basically took the 25 years thing literal. Now, in effect, that's what happened, because there were 25 years between the ending of the original series and the Showtime series, The Return. So, in effect, that happened, and maybe he does go on that whole other odyssey. I know a little bit about a little bit. At the moment, I'm speaking to how I felt after the ending of the first two seasons. So, if that had run its course, I do believe eventually he would have solved it. He just had to, as I said, he had to take this other journey first. As Albert says to him, you have to stand on the edge of the volcano and do your dance. Mm-hmm. And I always thought we were going to see some semblance of that. Unfortunately, those who I guess you could consider now normies, and at the time I considered myself what would now be called a normie, the network executives said, okay, look, you got to solve the case. You got to solve the murder. But you can't, because that is the story. That was the MacGuffin by which everything was going to spring from. And whether or not the intent was ever to solve it or not, I always thought that eventually, in the end, we would find out. Because I looked at it, and hello to Lady Mist, I looked at it in terms of more of a straight up mystery. I wasn't taking into account this whole metaphysical thing, the whole thing of the force in the woods, for example.
The lodges and all that.
The lodges and all that, yeah.
And people getting sucked into desks, into the wood in the desks and staying there, that sort of thing.
Yeah. But again, I always thought of that as it was more metaphorical, and that's why when we got to that episode, I brought up The Shining. And it's a matter of, and of course there's the whole, how exactly did she die? And again, that's something that is.
She died of a broken heart,
really
much like Padme.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Either. Retcon upon retcon. And hopefully, when we get to season 3, there won't be any retcons. Because and I don't mean this to be a whole rant about lore and canon and all this, but the thing that is interesting, because somebody brought this up to me earlier, was that it was a Star Wars discussion, and you know how I love getting into the middle of those.
Oh, right.
But there was a very interesting question that was raised, about how do you retcon something that is known canon, and how far do you stretch that? Because if you go back into the original trilogy, there are things that don't make sense either. Now with Twin Peaks, and as with all good television shows, you have this lore that you build up, and as I said on another stream over the weekend, and again, I didn't mean this to necessarily be a religious thing, but I always say the lore is the Bible.
Well, to be fair, on television series, they literally hand you something they call the Bible, which is all these stuff in the show that's supposed to be, that you're supposed to reference. This is if you're a new coming writer and didn't have time to watch every single episode, you can refer to this thing so you're not breaking continuity. I don't think they do that anymore, but that's what they used to do back in the day.
Yes. You can go online and read the series Bible for Battlestar Galactica, or at least the Sci-Fi Channel version, and there were directions that the show didn't take.
Interesting.
But it's all down, so in case, like you said, if there's a writer that comes in later, they still had this to reference. And a lot of the shows used to do that. And And there were places you used to be able to go online, or like the old days when we still had snail mail, and you had places like Script City. And Script City, I think, is still around, but where you could buy actual physical copies of like the series Bibles and whatnot. But you had them to go by, so you could stick to the lore. And like I said, Mark Frost was involved with shows like Hill Street Blues and LA Law, and these shows that had their own mythology, so to speak, and built on them. NYPD Blues is a good example of something that was later on. A lot of the Stephen Bochco shows, if you stepped too far away from the lore, from the rules that you had set down, people are going to notice, and they're going to pick up on that, and they're going to let you know it. And that's the situation that the people who are behind Star Wars at present are finding themselves in the middle of. And now we're having this whole debate in our fellowship here, or if there are those of you out there who choose to use the word community. I know there are some people who don't like that word, but understood. Again, that's a thing for another day. But you have people who are fans, they pay attention to the lore, and if you deviate from it, they'll let you know it. Twin Peaks did not deviate from that lore. They pretty much, they had this building block of the first season, and they built on it despite whatever you might think of it.
And they added a pine weasel.
But when I think when you get to the point where you have multiple series and multiple films that go on over decades, or you're in this situation that Doctor Who is in right now.
Oh no.
Which I again, I'm not a Doctor Who fan. I don't know the lore, and I don't claim to. So if somebody comes to me, you're going to write Doctor Who now. Well, then you better give me the back episodes and whatever, series Bibles or whatever you have, books.
No.
Give them all to me, because I don't know shit when it comes to Doctor Who. But
neither do the current writers.
no, apparently not.
I'm sorry.
But
Can't say
the
that
thing
about David.
is,
Sorry. Go ahead.
Twin Peaks has a lore, and they didn't deviate from it. And I think it is possible to do that if you are. And Nate is right. David Lynch did not sell his soul to the corporate overlords. Exactly. And that's partially what Mulholland Drive is about. And that's, you really look through a lot of his work.
I'd say the opening scene of Fire Walk
with Me. Too. Yeah, very much. And he's telling you, this is not going to be the series. But yeah, I mean, Troy, save me. We're up and running now, right? I think I've rambled long enough.
But
when are we doing the taste test?
Now that I'm on camera, I think all of you guys received a little package in the mail. Am I right?
Yes.
Indeed, we did.
Fine.
This is not a sponsored stream, but we all have a damn fine drink of coffee here from Georgia Coffee.
I'm going to open it up. I want to see. All
Okay.
right. I'm going to try it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the test.
It is damn fine coffee.
It's not bad.
Okay.
Black as midnight on a moonless night.
They added some sugar to this, though.
There has to be some sweetener in there. I thought it was straight
This actually is pretty good.
Right?
They sold this over here. I might buy this. This
Right?
is not bad.
I got it online, and it was really easy to find.
Yeah, I mean it is an import, so it is a little costly.
Of course,
but,
if they sold it over here, it'd be...
It was $3 a can.
yeah. I mean it's about the same price as a Red Bull, I guess. But that's really good.
You know, if they sold it over here, they'll be filled with corn syrup, probably, right?
You make a good point. It probably wouldn't be as good. See, I don't think people realize that. When you try some of your favorite sweets outside the country,
Yep.
it tastes better. It tastes better.
Oh,
and it's
man.
literally just the difference between sugar and corn syrup.
Did you ever watch the Osbournes when Ozzy Osbourne, he made sure he gets his imported British chocolate because he can't stand the American stuff? He was
I do not blame him in the slightest. I do not blame him. I don't even think that's, like hoity-toity, rich person ostentatious. That is just, yes, I agree.
Yes, sure, and I can't
When you when you taste the difference, I'll tell you what. It's like, you know what? I don't care what it costs. Either I have the good stuff or I don't have any at all. It's not worth, the calories. It's not worth the disappointment.
Yeah. But I think some American chocolate can't be sold in Europe unless they're making it under certain standards. That's what they're like.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider what the Food and Drug Administration is doing to certain Amish farmers, trying to keep them from selling raw milk products, and doesn't want them selling their meats and whatnot, because they want to close them down in favor of the big agricultural companies that are paying so much money into the political coffers. I think maybe that's a stream for another day. Sorry, guys.
I think America's big contribution to the world of sweets was probably ice cream. That's probably our big thing, right?
Did you know 95% of American breakfast cereals cannot be sold in Europe because the majority of their ingredients are banned? I'm not surprised.
Does that mean the box of honeycomb cereal I was eating out of is no good in Europe?
Nope.
Hey,
All
our
right.
corpses will be preserved long after we're dead because of all the preservatives we have.
Probably.
Who's the comedian in Britain? Best TV show. He's trying to run a farm and bureaucracy keeps trying to shut him down. That's Clarkson, isn't it?
I'll tell you, that's just pretty much.
So.
That's pretty much just the what do you call it? The World Economic Forum mandate now.
And it seems I was correct. Alrighty. Well, we have some good news. You have a video for us, or a slideshow.
A slideshow, yeah. I'll take you through it.
Okay.
I see Netter there with a certain someone. Is that right?
Indeed.
That's absolutely true.
With the giant, who was, I think, one of the good characters on the show. That was the impression I got.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let me see. I gotta. Give me a second. Slideshow.
Look at that.
There we
That
go.
warms your heart to see.
Alrighty. Now, I will warn everybody, as I did previously. We haven't been to Snoqualmie North Bend for a long time, and literally more than 100 pounds ago. So when you see Troy in these slides, you might be a bit surprised by the girth. So
Hey, we've all had our ups and downs, right?
well, yeah. So Diane, entering the town of Twin Peaks.
Oh, that's cool.
This was back when the Coca-Cola bottles were doing that, share a Coke with, and it had just different names
With
on
a
it.
friend? Yes, I remember that.
And I had Gordon. I just thought that was perfect. I get to the Twin Peaks.
Wow.
I get out at the airport, and there's Gordon. I'm like, yep, that's perfect. So this is literally...
Is that just by happenstance?
Just by chance, yes. That's what I picked up at the airport when we got there. So yeah, that's just us driving to the North Bend, Snoqualmie area. Entering Snoqualmie, and you see at the bottom there, that's the clip from the opening of Twin Peaks, the actual sign, and that is the actual road, obviously, what was it, 10, 15 years later, so bit overgrown. The lighting's very different, no filters on that camera, but that's what it looked like. So for the celebrations, the fans got together and reconstructed the sign. And of course, Netter and I got our pictures taken next to that made-up sign. So there you go. I'm sure someone still has that sign somewhere. They had actually, my understanding was that the town actually had raised the money to recreate the sign like permanently.
Huh.
And then it got hit by a car. I kid you not.
The person who hit it needs to pay for a new sign.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I don't have a picture of it handy, but where you see me standing there, about halfway up that, to about the midsection of that sign, is all water now.
Really?
Yes, the river has risen that high.
Oh my goodness, that happened.
Yeah, you can't even see that there is a river beyond those trees. But yeah, in fact, those poles aren't even there anymore. They've been moved to the other side of the street. But so my slides are not separated by the years that we were there. So they're all kind of smooshed together. I think we were there from 2015 was the last year we were there. And I think we were there off and on from like 2009 on. Like I said, off and on. So this was the... what you see in the upper left there is just the grove where one of the picnics took place on one of the days. That would have been on a Sunday. What's interesting is that grove will be revisiting later on in the slides, because looking at that sign directly behind me is the house where the sheriff's station for Deer Meadow, the filming location for that. But this little what do you call it? This little village house or whatever. Stood in for the Twin Peaks Town Hall the first year that we went out there. They had every year somebody put out donuts from the local bakery, spattered them with raspberry jam and a couple black feathers. And actually, I mean, it was perfectly edible raspberry jelly. So it was like, I want one that's blood spattered. It tastes better.
Were the feathers edible?
No, the feathers were not. They were just like pulled out of a cheap boa. So
I see.
Of course, they had the mock-up of an owl, which was pretty much exactly what it seems. It was a big plastic owl. And remember, I mentioned Judy the party primate. There's Judy the party primate that many people took pictures with and so forth. I didn't put a lot of pictures of other people from the fest because I figured, they may or may not want their visages shown. But in the upper left-hand corner, you see I had just participated in the what do they call that? The trivia contest, and I was in the last 4, and I had just bumped out. So there's the 3 finalists. The MC there, of course, is Josh Eisenstadt, whom hopefully we'll be talking with in an upcoming stream. He used to be the guy to beat in the trivia contest until everyone realized he was winning every year, and he kind of realized it too, and he's like, yeah, I think it's time for me to retire and just kind of take over MC duties. And then you'll see on the right, that's myself with a couple of friends that I met there. But the reason this picture is here is for the guy on the far right side. That is, I'm drawing a blank on his name. His first name's Chris. I'm drawing a blank. But he was the gentleman who made the...
Brokaw.
Brokaw.
BROCAW or KAW, if I recall
I'll
correctly.
take your word for it. I don't remember. But it's on the cover of the Flappy video that we watched. He's the one who made that. And that's Brian in the lower left. He's the one who made the one, what is it? Beyond the Meanwhile. The one that we watched a couple weeks ago that nobody liked. But, you know, he's the filmmaker who made that. And then this is just some of the memorabilia that was on the table. I had originally had an idea that maybe I'd take this down and show you some of mine because I have some of these items that I could show you firsthand, but unfortunately this is a difficult slideshow program to work with, so I'm just going to go through the slideshow, and if we have time at the end, I'll show you some of my my items and doodads.
I'm looking at all this stuff.
Yeah, so the lower left there is a behind the scenes. That's what they would have. It's a book they would have had before, you know, you had DVDs with DVD extras and so forth.
I think my sister had that book. Was that sold in regular bookstores?
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, it looks familiar.
Yeah,
I think I've seen it before.
Popular.
Yeah.
I even saw it at some comic book stores. Lower right is the piano sheet music for the theme. The upper right hand is a book basically about the writing of Twin Peaks and an analysis. I actually have that book, although I don't have it right here next to me. The middle two are just fanzines, so to speak. There was a lot of fanzines like that. And of course, I know that Deleted Scenes was struggling before the program, trying to find his copies. I have mine here. At least I think I do. We'll see. But these are a picture of the 4 Twin Peaks Gazettes that were released. The lower left-hand one was the preview one, from which people, you know, could order the rest. You know, I picked up all 4 of them. And that log roller, that is a fan-made yearbook. Would be the yearbook for the year that Laura Palmer died, so it would have been her graduating class. And we were able to submit our own pictures so that we could be put into their yearbook. So Netta and I were able to graduate from Twin Peaks High School. I guess that would make us, what, class of 89, right? So
look at that.
There you go.
And one of the things that also came with the Gazette was also this little card that you got where you had an address in town.
Oh, interesting.
I had that as well, but it is
nice
wherever my copies of the newspapers are. But,
well, if you find it for a future stream,
together.
maybe you can pull that out and let us see it.
Yeah.
So this was some of the setup. You know, that the middle is a centerpiece that they had done, at one of the banquets. Another owl that they had on display. Somebody actually did the sign for One-Eyed Jacks. That is, I don't know who it was, but somebody had made their own custom ring from Fire Walk with Me. And I just felt like putting up the drink prices from that particular year's banquet, because why not? Not only did they do the sign for One-Eyed Jacks, but I think I mentioned this before. Every year that I was there, somebody put together the waiting room. And so the first year it was just those black chairs, but then somebody found the actual style of chair from that scene, and that lamp there actually was donated by Netter and myself, because it's not exactly right, but it's really close.
Looks close, yeah.
And the curtain is held up by a PVC pipe frame, and that parquet floor is just a material that was laid out. But I thought it was really cool. So of course we got Netter. Netter actually looks really good in these pictures. There's another one where she's smiling, and I'm like, oh, sexy.
Before you go on, Troy, I do want to acknowledge a couple of people who've joined us in the chat. Stargate Trivia.
Hello.
And welcome to a new face, Stevie J.
Welcome. If there's anybody here who's on my stream, I'm sorry I can't see you. The way this stupid slideshow works, it takes up my whole screen, and I can do nothing else. So, sorry guys, but I appreciate everyone who's here.
This is a simulcast broadcast. We are on all of our channels right now, and we are also on Twitter as well. Yep. So thank you to everyone who is seeing us off platform.
Yep. Okay. So gonna take you through my virtual tour. You see the middle left there is they had actually rented out a bus that we took around. We did it one year. We didn't feel like we needed to hit the filming locations every single year. Top left, of course, is Twin Peaks High School. That was the actual high school in North Bend. And one year, the year that you saw they were where we were doing the trivia contest, that was in the cafeteria at the school. So that's where we met that year. In the middle of downtown, there is that big log that is on display that you see in the opening, and you'll see it's the interior of it's kind of just rotting away, because that's just what happens to wood that's left out in the elements, and that's why they built that shelter over it to try and preserve it as long as they could. In the lower left-hand corner is a building that the top floors, the interior of that was the Twin Peaks holding cells, where they threw Mike and Bobby and James, and later Ben Horn. So and directly kitty corner from that building is another one you might recognize. Tweed's, previously Marty's, which of course was the stand-in for the Double R Diner.
Home of Twin Peaks cherry pie.
Yeah.
Did you try a piece?
So, here's the thing. It says home of Twin Peaks cherry pie, but it depends on your definition of what the home of a pie is and which pie is Twin Peaks. Here's what I mean by that. The pie that David Lynch ate, that he enjoyed so much, was not made at this diner. It was made at a bakery down the street. And that baker was no longer, although the bakery is still there, the person who made the pies had retired. So, and when we get back to Deer Meadow, I'll talk. There was a picnic that we had at the filming location of Deer Meadow, and all the pies that were there were provided by the lady who had made the pies back in the day. So those were the official ones that David Lynch had in mind when he talked about, the Double R Diner's famous cherry pie, right? Which was really good. Not my style of cherry pie, though. It was the kind that has the sugar on top.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like a little bit of a crackle there.
Yeah.
So I had that. I can say I had the official, what I consider to be the official, Double R Diner pies.
Right.
But I'll be honest with you, the pies that they serve at Tweed's are really good. I had a cherry pie there, and it was good too.
They had blueberry pie there?
I don't believe it was in season when I
Okay, so they have to be in season.
So they wouldn't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all seasonal.
So it's all fresh then. That's good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the things about being out on the left coast. There is you get very fresh produce, and those pies were excellent. So there you go. And same with those donuts. Those donuts came from that same bakery. So I suppose in theory they're probably the exact same donuts that you would have seen, Lucy set up in the sheriff's office. So, but I don't know if Mark Malnikoff is here tonight. No, I know he's not because he's working tonight.
He is here.
Oh, you are
He
here.
just joined us. Yeah.
Oh, well, perfect timing because this slide is specifically here for you. There's this nice little well, it might be a little generous to call it a railroad museum. It is an end-of-the-line section where they have a lot of old train cars. This would have been the filming location for, the train car in the early episodes, and then, of course, return to it in Fire Walk with Me, where Laura was actually, murdered. None of these train cars are the actual one. It's no longer there. In fact, I don't think that train car was even there for the filming of Fire Walk with Me. But that one in the upper left is a similar style, although it's red, and I think that the other one was either completely rusted out or a brownish, blackish color. The one in the upper right and the middle right, it's the same one from two different angles, and I don't know anything about that particular is that an engine? And it's got this big propeller on both sides of it. It's very, very odd. I don't know what its purpose is, but it's really, really kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, that's right in the middle of town, and those tracks go out through the town right behind the Tweed's Double R Diner. And then, of course, you recognize the what is it called? The Bang Bang Roadhouse, right? And this is the actual location, and you'll notice in the upper right, it has now been actually rebranded the Roadhouse, just because it hadn't been previously, and everyone called it the Roadhouse, and they're like, "Oh, screw it, we'll just change the name." And they put up a sign that said the Roadhouse. So if you're looking at it, this is the parking lot. This is where you would have seen that sign. The neon sign would have been like in the middle front here. If you walk around the other side, around the corner there, that's where you'd see the front, the entrance. They had really good food there. They really did. It's a great little.
What kind of food?
Uh, y- y-
Burgers, ribs, sort of thing.
they had all that kind of stuff. The kind
Yeah.
of stuff you'd expect to see at a hilltop restaurant type thing. It's not. It's better than a diner, but it's not quite. I guess you'd say it's like a 2-star restaurant type of place. Like maybe a rural steakhouse type of thing. That building in the upper left is directly behind the Roadhouse. It is a private residence, and they kind of didn't even like people taking pictures of it. I think that building was the exterior for the bookhouse. The interiors of the bookhouse I don't have pictures of because that is in Los Angeles. Netter and I did get to visit there, and I think we might have pictures of it, but I couldn't find those pictures. All of our LA pictures are somewhere else. I'm not going to be able to get to those today. And then, of course, you remember lower center picture. That's James on his little lookout point. Well, that's a real place. It's called Snoqualmie Point. But if you look at the upper right, that's what it looked like in 2015. They kind of put in a paved section. They manicured the lawn. Yeah, in fact, what's interesting is that center picture is what he would have seen looking out from that point. It is beautiful, but I'm not exactly sure how steep that drop-off is. You can see the tops of trees at your ankle level. I didn't want to walk any closer. Just saying. Just a little bit of wisdom.
There'd be a sheer drop, you think?
I believe so. I absolutely believe so. This is the Salish Lodge, which of course was the exterior for the Great Northern. So you see on the right, that little doorway there, that's the doorway you see Sherilyn Fenn come out of when you first see her. She walks, to the left, and she gets into her limousine to go to school. So yeah, I mean, I didn't bother to do too many pictures because you all know basically what the Great Northern looks like on the outside. We never even went inside. There was no reason to because none of the filming locations were inside that building. It was all a different location. So, and although you could stay the night there, it's not really a hotel so much as it's a spa. Very expensive to stay there. And I was like, well, why would I want to spend that kind of money to stay here when there aren't even any filming locations here? It's not like I'd get to stay in the Great Northern, the rooms that you saw, in Twin Peaks. So, of course, we didn't do that. So, you see this bloke in the lower right? I can't tell if he's coming or going. Oh, he's going away from us. But if you keep walking towards us the way he's going, you will take a left around the building, and you will see this little overhang, Snoqualmie Falls. And it puts you on a little path. And if you imagine what the establishing shot of those falls look like with the Great Northern in the upper left there, we're basically walking around it towards the falls, right? So as we're coming around the corner, lower left and upper right is what we're seeing. If you imagine the falls over our left shoulder, or directly to our left. We haven't even passed the falls yet. So that's what we're seeing. And then lower right-hand corner, just when you are even with those falls and you turn and look, that's what you see. And then as you're walking a little further out, you see more and more of the falls. This particular shot doesn't give you the idea of the scope and grandeur. Wait till we get to the bottom of it. But that upper left-hand picture was actually a picture we took. That is not from the show. That's literally a picture we took. Upper right is us. Basically, if you're looking at the Great Northern, the Shalish Lodge there, and look across the river, directly across the river, those railroad tracks, those elevated railroad tracks, you can see those on the other side. And it was functioning, and there were trains on it. I suspect there was still some kind of logging or milling going on, even though most of it was closed down. But there you go. It really, really is beautiful. So what we did was, from here, there's switchbacks to walk down to the river itself. And so at the 3/4 mark, there's like a gazebo there. You see Netter in the middle there with the falls behind her.
Yeah.
You can go around the gazebo. You're not supposed to, but most of us did. You see on the right the rocks. On the left, I don't know if you can even see that. No, I can't bring up my mouse or anything to point to you. But like that rock there,
Yeah.
The big one there, there's a dude standing on that.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Yeah, that's how big that is and how far away that is, just to give you an idea of the scope, you know. But anyway, so that was a couple hours excursion. That was a long walk down to the bottom of those falls. And you know, that big fat guy you saw earlier, you could believe I had to make a lot of stops and you know, breathe heavy. So then there is the I guess you would call it what do you call it? Who was that girl that came down off the railroad tracks?
Ronette.
Yeah, Ronette's Bridge, right? So in the show, that was literally train tracks, right? But the train no longer runs through here anymore. But they didn't take down the bridge. What they did was they paved, not paved over it, but they laid down wood and turned it into a footbridge, so you could actually walk out onto it, take pictures, get your picture taken. So upper left is, you know, from a little parking area. I don't have a good picture of it, but you see where the dude is in red, just to his left there. The switch, the railroad switch is still there. It's not connected to anything, obviously, because the tracks aren't there any longer. But it was kind of neat to see that. And then, yeah, you could see we walked out onto it. And then that first support there, on the left-hand side, you see somebody painted R.I.P. T. Banks. Rest in peace, Teresa Banks.
Oh.
And I have no idea who did it. It wasn't, well, we couldn't find anyone in our group that would admit to it, but it was there for years.
My money's on Josh. I'm sorry.
I asked him, he didn't know either. And if there was anyone that would know, he would. And why do I have a picture of a kid? That kid was a local. He was there with his friends, and they were swimming in the river beneath the bridge, and they were all jumping off. And he was going to jump off, but he was afraid. And all of us were, you know, some people were saying jump, others were saying no. And Netter and I said to him, "Look, kid, I'm not gonna lie to you. It could be dangerous. You could really get yourself hurt. On the other hand, all your friends have already done it, and they did it okay. So I'm not telling you to do it, but if you're going to do it, you know," he's like, "Yeah, I think I will." And then he did. He just jumped in, and he turned around, and he gave a thumbs up, and I'm like, "Good on you, kid." So just a nice little vacation memory.
So this kid's a daredevil.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't do it because I didn't know the river. I don't know how deep it is, right? But they're locals, and they know when the river's higher, when it's lower, and when it's safe.
I gotcha.
apparently safe for everyone else, and he just had never done it before, and he was trying to get over his fright. So this is well, do you recognize this place?
Oh, that's not Leo's house, is it?
No, it's not. No, I did not see Leo's house. I don't think I
Okay.
ever did. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where that filming location is.
What do you think, deleted scenes?
Let me get a closer look at it here. I feel like I should know this. But
Is
I
it that
am
it's not the
drawing a blank.
Uh,
place?
Let me help you out. Just to be clear, those two top pictures are,
Mhm.
that is the way it would be set up. So that house is there, that other building is to the right of it. Okay. Imagine in the picture on the right if there were some gas pumps in front of it.
Oh, is that Ed's?
Yep. That's Big Ed's
Ah.
gas farm. Yeah.
Oh,
So what that actually is I actually don't know what kind of business they are. There's some sort of a shop. I think they sold picture frames or something like that. I don't really know. But it's a private business, and it never was a gas station. Those, well, actually, I mean, you could see to the right where that couple is standing on the right-hand side. Right behind them was where, they had like cars being worked on and stuff, but there was no garage there. And in front, it was a complete mock-up, those gas pumps. And there was a sign above it, that was a mock-up, and that was it. But the storefront is a real storefront, so they probably had the interiors made up to look like, what you'd expect to see at a service station. And the person that runs that business does own the house on the left-hand side. Again, not real big on people, coming around taking pictures and stuff. And
right.
never got a chance to ask, if their drapery runners are, terribly silent or not. One thing I don't think you see in the show is to the right of that business there. So it would be off the frame here, is that little wooden construction that says Preston Mill. I don't think the mill is still there anymore, but I believe during the time that they were filming, there was like there was a big, large collection of lumber there. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. And then we did not stay at this location, but do you recognize this filming location, deleted scenes?
That's the motel
Yep, that is
where they
Go ahead.
they go there for the one-armed man, Gerard. Right? And also, yeah. And we find out that a few other people are kind of sneaking around as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So right where that Coke machine is, to the left of that, is the room that Laura and Teresa and Ronette were. Yeah.
Okay. So it's the same location for all of them, or?
It is
Cool.
the same location. That's the real name of the location is Mount Si Motel. And the specific room that the girls were in, apparently when they've done renovations and whatnot, they've never touched that one room.
Huh.
We did not stay there because they jack the prices up whenever there's a fest there. And it's not that great a place. I mean, as motels go, it's barely functional.
You just find it dazed in, I guess.
There was another one further out of town that we stayed at that was really nice, very reasonably priced, basically because it was far enough out of town that not a lot of people were staying that far out, so we got the better rate. So anyway, and then of course you recognize this location, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
And that's the police station.
Yes,
Sheriff's
yes, it
office.
is. And so, but what it really was, well, it was closed when the business had closed, I should say. I'm going to advance to the next slide for just a moment, for the establishment here. So we're facing the filming location for the Twin Peaks Sheriff Department, right? And if you're standing here looking directly at that center picture, right, and then you turn yourself 180 degrees, you're looking at the remains of the Packard Mill. Now, the one on the left, of course, is the establishing shot from the TV show. The one on the right is what it looked like back in whatever it was, 2010, 2011, when we were there. That was all that was left. And so what the actual sheriff's department, it's not actually a sheriff's department, this is actually the business office for that mill. And that mill wasn't a lumber mill so much as it was a paper mill. They took scraps of wood, pulped it, and turned it into paper. So this was like the office. It was a paper company. So if you go right up to that door and then slide over to the left, you see there's little windows to the left of the doorway. Through that, I was able to get that picture in the lower left, which of course was the reception desk where Lucy sat. I got a picture of the monument in front, and for whatever reason, I wanted to get a close up of the leaves because they're made out of metal, copper, I guess. I just thought it was kind of cool. These green metal, green patinaed leaves. Anyway, we went subsequently, and I don't think there was anything left of the mill anymore, and they'd taken that monument away, and the office was being used as a private office for they had like a go-kart thing there, and that was where you'd buy your tickets or whatever. Oh yeah, that. And then a couple of my pictures got lost, it seems. This is the interior of the Kiana Lodge. This is a location that you had to take a ferry to, like across the river, or across the Sound, literally to an island. And these were the interiors for both the Great Northern and the Packard Mill. And so this location that you're seeing here is the the reception area, just not made up to be the reception area. And I'm trying to figure out why I feel my pictures aren't loading now for some reason. Hang on, guys.
It's fine.
I'm gonna stop sharing, and let me bring this down and try to reboot it.
And good night, Tim.
Here. Take care, Tim.
Have a good evening.
Let's see here. Bear with me.
While Troy is doing that, we have had upwards of 30 people who've stuck with us the entire night, even though we started off a little bit late. Thank you all once again for being here. Please make sure to hit the like, share out the stream, and if you are new to any of our channels, please subscribe.
Okay, let's give this another try. Oh, I guess I got to share it with you first. Let me share.
All right.
How do I do that? Give me a second. Present. Entire screen. There we go. And then I'll bring up the slide again. Slideshow. There we go. Okay. So once again, we're looking at the the interiors. This would have been the backdrop behind the reception area. The lower two pictures are the well, it's actually a banquet hall, but if you recognize on the right-hand side the fireplace, this was the room that was made up for the Norwegians, right? Mm-hmm. The Norwegians were, all facing towards the fireplace where Ben Horn was talking. And, of course, that archway, that doorway there, in the lower left picture, that's where Audrey came in, was feeling all sad and talking about how her friend died and was found wrapped in plastic. So here's a cleaner shot of that. So same establishing shot on the right. There's a close up of the fireplace on the bottom. That wall there, next to the doorway on the left. Take those chairs away, right? Put a vanity in front of it with a mirror, and that is where we see Josie Packard for the first time, putting on her makeup or taking off her makeup or whatever she was doing at that time. That was that filming location as well. They said, well, we just need a wooden wall. Let's set it up here. And then this is different shots. The lighting is really crazy. You can't tell this, but the lower left-hand corner and the upper right-hand corner are taken from the same angle. I don't know why the lighting is so goofy, but this is Ben Horn's office. You can see the fireplace there. This is where he and Jerry and Leland are talking before he gets a call about Laura missing. This is a fuller view of that. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the same room, pulled back. Just more views of it. This is the one that I was getting ready to talk about. This is again the what do you call it? In the hotel, the
lobby.
Yeah, this is like the lobby, of the Great Northern, or at least this is the filming location for it. Obviously, everything had to be brought in, the desks and whatnot. So, Kiana Lodge, the exterior, the only thing that was used of the exterior is you see it when Pete is leaving to go fishing, right? So you've seen it, and then of course what? He walks past the big log, and then he sees a girl wrapped in plastic, right?
Yep.
A girl like that.
Oh my goodness.
Kind of an establishing shot of what the log looks like in daylight. Also, something that you don't realize and think about when you're watching a show like this is that this has to be at low tide, because at high tide it comes up to the log and you can't get the shot. So everybody who wanted to have their picture taken wrapped in plastic by the log had to have it done by a certain time.
And of course, you could see Laura Palmer there is wearing a Twin Peaks T-shirt.
Yes, she is. She's got a Fest T-shirt from that year. There you go. And here's another shot from, like I said, later in the day. The water is now up to and touching the log. You can see on the right-hand side there's pieces that have been cut away. People have literally been trying to take pieces of Laura's log, and it's like, people, stop, don't, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin it.
But there you go. This is 534 South Lewis, St. Monroe, Washington. This was another one that is not in North Bend and Snoqualmie. It's a long, long drive. This is Laura's house, or at least the one from the TV show. This is not the same one from Fire Walk with Me, and subsequently. So that's the front of the house in the upper left. Two views of the back of the house in the lower right. You see they have a pool. I don't know if Laura had a pool, but that house had a pool. I don't think any of this, other than the dining, maybe the dining room, definitely the living room on the upper left, although obviously arranged differently, was Laura's house. It's a shot of the attic, but of course we don't see the attic in the show. I don't remember any scenes taking place in the kitchen. And now we're at Deer Meadow, right? And this building is the real world ranger's house, not in Deer Meadow, Washington, but whatever that area is around Snoqualmie. If you were to turn around from this house, like over your left shoulder, and walk straight for about less than a quarter of a mile, you'd hit a river. That river is the establishing river that you see at the beginning, the little babbling brook. So I wanted to show you in the upper right-hand corner that shot of the office of the Deer Meadow Sheriff's office, where the secretary's typing and all this kind of stuff. Well, that's actually somebody's living room, and the lower two pictures, is the windows, and to the right, there's a fireplace there, and it goes around the corner to their dining room. It's just, there you go. And that wonderful woman and her son are the real Rangers family. And I didn't mean to put this slide in. I want, this picture needs to be here so that you can see what I'm talking about. So if you remember Fire Walk with Me, you go past that reception area, you walk down the hall. Again, this is their house. So you're going back down the hall to the far bedroom. So what was the sheriff's office, right, is actually the back bedroom. And so you see that door in the upper left there, turn 180 degrees, and I took that lower picture from that doorway. That's how small that room is. That's what is that? Is that a full-size bed? Is that
looks
what that
like,
would be?
Yeah, it looks like a full-size.
Yeah, it takes up most of the room.
It's not that big a bed either, right?
It's not that big a bed. That's how small the room is. So from the lower, you see the indicating, if you were to turn 90 degrees to the left, it would be the upper right-hand picture. He was kind of smooshed in there behind that desk. We even kind of pointed out that he was really kind of jammed in there. That window in the lower picture, they actually had to set the camera outside there to shoot in to get that scene in the upper left. That's how small that room was. I just found that incredibly interesting. You don't think about those things when you see a film. Anyway, so now I want to get into some of the people that we met in our exploits. Starting with Kathleen Wilhoit, who appeared as Gwen in Twin Peaks. She and Netter kind of hit it off. They They had a lot of fun. You might recognize this next actress, Sherilyn Fenn. This was not the first time we met her either. We met her at another Twin Peaks Fest, and we met her here in Chicago at was it a Comic-Con or something like
Gen
that?
Con.
She was there with Cheryl Lee. I don't know if we even got pictures that night, but it was really a lot of fun. We met Charlotte Stewart every year that we were there. She is just wonderful. If you don't remember Betty Briggs from Twin Peaks, you definitely, if you're of a certain age, you might remember as the school teacher in Little House on the Prairie.
Right.
She used to say that she would do these festivals every year that they had them. She was invited out to some overseas that they were doing, and she did an annual Little House on the Prairie get together too. So there you go. Jennifer Lynch. I was surprised I couldn't find any pictures of her with Netter. She and Netter got along famously.
So Twin Peaks, what is that? Is that Diary of Laura Palmer, right?
Yes, it is, and that is literally the copy that she autographed for me. She signed it. She, got her picture taken holding it, and then she handed it to me. Yep. Kimmy Roberts. She's another one that we met every year that we were there. To the point that she didn't know us by name, but she recognized Netter. Carl the Giant. It was funny because his demeanor, his character is every bit what you expect when you see him in his roles, right? He's soft-spoken, very, very friendly, and he was doing an autograph signing. We went up and greeted him, and he said, "It's very nice to meet you." And I said, "We've actually met before." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." And I told him, exactly what year it was at a Star Trek convention. He goes, "Oh." I'm sure he didn't remember me personally, but he remembered the event I was talking about.
Who was he on Star Trek?
He played Mr. Holm in Star Trek The Next Generation. Luoxana's, manservant.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yes, I remember that.
He's like, he goes, "That was the first convention I ever did." He said, it's taken so much getting used to that I have fans, he said. I'm like, yeah, you got fans. People like you. So, but look at how tall he is. He's
Now keep in mind, I'm 5'4".
Yeah.
And I come up to his armpit.
Yep.
Or in Klingon, his "eh".
His "eh". Yeah, exactly. There was a very diverse group of guests, right? Including Ed Ergdahl. That's it. I remember now. Ed Ergdahl. He's the linguist who did all the interpretation for the Norwegians. Literally does speak fluent Norwegian. And any Norwegian words that needed to be said, he, coached people in how to say them. But that's why he was the interpreter, because he could do most of the talking and they'd know that it was correct. He was a real nice guy. He's like, this is the first, possibly last time I'm ever going to be at a convention like this and signing autographs. He said, "This is the wildest thing to me. I never would have thought when I became a linguist and a teacher that I'd be signing autographs." He said, "Even after being in the show," he said, "I figured it was such a small role, no one would even think of me." It's interesting too, because he's got a full beard in the show and totally clean shaven here. Phoebe Augustine. Ronette. Again, sweetest person. Very, very for someone who is an actress, drama, and so forth, seemed almost kind of shy. I was like, you don't expect that from someone who's in the performing arts,
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say who my favorite, celebrities are that I've met, at these Twin Peaks celebrations. But Gary Hirschberger has got to be right up there at the top. He played Mike, and like I said, he was so nice. That picnic that I was telling you about with the pies and right across from the Deer Meadow sheriff's department there. Netter and I are sitting there eating our lunch, and he comes by and says, "Is anyone sitting here?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Can I sit here?" I'm like, "Absolutely, if you want to." I was just blown away. He sat and had lunch with us, and we got to talking.
Nice?
And that's what I was. I think I told this story. I don't remember what I said that clued him into my political bent.
Right.
And he's like, you have no idea what it's like being a conservative in Hollywood. I'm like, no, I can't even imagine. He says, I never talk politics because I know, people would have very, very conservative, very Christian guy. I'm like, man, you must be a really good actor because you were such a bastard on that show. I'm like, you had me convinced that you were like a bully and you were just typecast. He's like, well, thank you very much.
Didn't he howl like a dog in the first episode?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Wait a minute. First things first. Where are the robots? Oh, wrong Mike Nelson. I'm sorry.
I get it. Now, I shouldn't have labeled this next one because there's no way for me to bring this up and say, can you guess who this is? The answer's right there at the bottom, but I bet you wouldn't have guessed if I didn't have it written down there.
Well, no, he's aged some.
Yes, he absolutely did. That's Mrs. Chalfon's grandson. Previously played by David Lynch's son.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a heck of a nice guy. It's the only role he ever did. He did that, and then he never acted again. And he was another one who's like completely blown away that people are asking for his autograph and wanted him to come to this convention. But he's like, yeah, sure. This one's going to surprise you. I don't think I mentioned previously that we'd met him. Ian Buchanan. Yeah, Dick Tremaine. Not a dick in real life. Really
good.
Nice guy.
That's good.
really a nice guy. And in fact, my take of him was that he was every bit as sophisticated and elegant as his character wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he really was a gentleman. That's the only way I could describe him. He was an incredibly nice guy. It was and again, this was 2015. This was the last year that we went. And it was Kathleen Coulson's last appearance. That one was a shock to us when she passed.
Yeah.
Because it's like we had just met her not too long before, But there was one other celebrity that we met there. I didn't tell you about this. I may have alluded to it. Flappy.
What? You're kidding me.
Yes. In all, seriousness though, the bird that you see at the opening of Twin Peaks is a female varied thrush. I guess they're very common to the area. And while we were there taking pictures of the outside of, this is the outside of Kiana Lodge, right? So if you would imagine from where this picture is taken, left, turn left about 90 degrees and walk straight, you would walk right to the shore, and that's where the log is. Okay? And that branch, I kid you not, you're just going to have to take my word for it, that is that branch from that opening. Taken from a slightly different angle, because it was really kind of hard with all the people standing around, but it is the same exact branch. And the fact that a female varied thrush landed on it, I'm like, this is too damn perfect. And I got the shot. So there you go.
Look
That
at
was
that.
many, many years of Twin Peaks festivals.
I'm telling you, that looked a bit like Flappy.
Yep, it absolutely was the same, not the same bird, but the same, what do you call it, breed and gender, I suppose. But there you go. Now, figured I would share some of my collection and memorabilia, starting with my most recent acquisition. I think it's my most recent acquisition. No. If I was to start with my most recent acquisition, it would be these two card games. This is, don't know, especially if you're from the UK, you might know this better. Top Trumps is, I guess, a popular card game over there. And they license all kinds of brands.
Look at that.
Obviously, I was only interested in the Twin Peaks, the Curious Objects of Twin Peaks, and the original Twin Peaks Trumps card game. And, you know, each card, the cards are an excellent quality. They are very, very thick, laminated. Oh, well, that's the back. The rules. So, for example,
Whoa.
here's Harry Truman, right? And they've got different stats. What is it? Not What They Seem, Black as Midnight, Back in Style, a glass of warm milk, from another place, damn fine. And they get a value in each one of those. And everyone's got a different value in those scores. And what you're trying to do is you play your cards against each other, and whoever's got the highest and whatever the value is, you get to take them, and whoever has the most cards at the end wins. Never actually played it myself, but so that was my most recent acquisition. Prior to that, I picked up, this is probably never going to be opened, because you know me, my 5 POA. It says 9 POA. I don't know how it's 9 POA. It's 5 POA.
I see Bob.
Bob, Laura, the Log Lady, and of course Agent Cooper. Trying not to get too much.
Technically, that's 5 action figures because there's also the log.
True. That is absolutely true. So, because those were the only action figures they put out, so those were my only options as far
No
as
Hawk?
No Hawk. Yeah. See, that's the problem. I think this is the same guys who do Super 7. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Maybe they were planning to do the police as a separate set, you know?
Unfortunately, it's a collector thing. It's not a playable thing. If this was like
Right.
G.I. Joe or something, they'd do army builders and stuff. But
Right.
this, the same gentleman who did the log roller, the high school yearbook, also did. You ever heard of the game Cards Against Humanity?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Peaks Against Society.
What?
Yep, it's a party game for wicked Twin Peaks fans. So, just for example, you guys know how this game goes. So, for example, you've got Donna Hayward would have been more likable if she'd been played by blank. And then, of course, some of the options. Audrey Horne's Cherry. Missoula, Montana.
Huh.
The Log Lady's Other Log. Anyway, you know how it goes. You end up coming up with some very, very funny, sometimes very risque combinations.
The Log Lady. Oh.
We got these just because we're big fans of Cards Against Humanity, and figured, well, going back to the beginning of my Twin Peaks memorabilia, back at the beginning there wasn't a lot. There was Laura Palmer's Secret Diary, there was, the tapes and whatnot, and there was this set of collector's cards. And this wasn't like, the chewing gum cards or what you'd buy little packs and, got to catch them all. You just bought the whole stack together. And these are what you would expect for, kind of like Topps, any of those movie cards and whatnot. And it even has a checklist, like you remember from the old trading cards. But what's cool about these, I've got two sets. One is just a complete set that I keep up fairly nice. They're not in like mint condition or anything. They're a little loved. Let's just put it that way. And bear with me, I want to get these put back. But what I want to show you is that I do have another set that, when it was convenient, this is what I had people sign. So, for example, we have Kimmy Roberts' autograph. That picture that you saw earlier, me getting a signature, that's what he was signing.
Look at that.
And you remember I had said I didn't think I had gotten Kathleen Coulson's autograph? I did. And Dick Tremaine. These were all from the same year. I think what I did was I picked up another pack while I was there. Someone was selling, at a table. Picked them up, got them signed. Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of thing that if I'd have had the foreknowledge, I probably would have started from a younger age getting things signed and whatnot. I could have had a whole collection. Another early one from my collection, The Access Guide to Twin Peaks.
Yes.
Herein lies the third cherry pie. So I mentioned the first two official Twin Peaks cherry pies. There is also a recipe in here that is supposedly Norma's cherry pie recipe from the Double R Diner, which Netter has made for me. And it was really good too. This is a great little read. This is one of those somewhat tongue-in-cheek. It's an access guide. So it's like if you were going to a place to vacation, it talks about the town, the history, sights to see, and so on and so forth. And there's some cute little Easter eggs, a lot of little jokes in it. Great read. We were going to go over this at one point, and I don't think we got around to it. I can't find an audio version that would be cool to share with you guys. The authorized biography of Special Agent Dale Cooper, My Life, My Tapes. This kind of tells the whole story about Caroline and Wyndham Earle and whatnot. It's actually a pretty good story. I'll get to those in a second. What have I got in here? This is... Oh, okay. Well, first, let me show you. This is a magazine called Blue Rose Magazine. It was like... Also, I believe this is also by Brian List, the guy that did the Peaks Against Society and what's it called, the yearbook. But it's this, and I've got the whole collection here. This is the whole run of Blue Rose magazine. Lots of great analyses, interviews, some really great artwork. I mean, this is some really good stuff here. Yeah, this one's really good too. The second issue. This one had. How do I get that in shot? In the style of the Secret Diary. This one, as I recall, had multiple covers, but that was the one, of course, that I wanted. A special issue about a Twin Peaks burlesque outfit. I think they're out of Washington. And they also talk a lot about Lynch's other films and whatnot. But probably the most interesting for at least one possible listener or fan of the show, Big Al got a copy of this. Actually, we ended up picking up a couple copies of this because as they were liquidating their stock, I wanted to make sure I got this for Big Al. He's a big Alicia Witt fan, who is an Al pal in her own right. So I've got multiple copies of that particular issue. What's this? This is... Oh, this is related. This is The Art of Twin Peaks, a very, very strange magazine. It contains all kinds of fan art. Really neat stuff. But it was like a special issue of Blue Rose magazine. Here we go. This is what you were looking for, deleted scenes. My copies of the Twin Peaks Gazette.
Ah, yes.
So this was the first one. Agent Cooper makes black tie best dressed FBI agent list. Audrey Horne photo lookalike contest. Contest for the gifted and the damned. The king must die. I do believe that at least some of this was actually purchasable, including the No, this was never actually available. It says sold out. This is the what is it? The One-Eyed Jack's lingerie. Not really an available item, but yeah. And let's see. Give Peaks a chance. Nope. There we go. And let's see. Am I missing an issue? Maybe I've misplaced it. And Twin Peaks hosts Bizarre Chess Murders.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was from the show.
Right. But I know there's another one here. I just don't know where I misplaced it. But yeah, I have all four of them. And another magazine. This is a much, much older one. I don't have all of them. It's very, very hard to find. They go for a lot of money now. It's a magazine called Wrapped in Plastic. This particular one is about Lost Highway.
Oh.
Definitely looking for... This ran for a long time. And I was very late to the game with this, so I've gotten them all like on the secondary market. That's about all I got. And there's probably about 5 times as many. And then, of course, that brings us to the Log Roller. I told you guys about that, which was, of course, the Twin Peaks yearbook. And see if I can find me in here again. It wasn't a big graduating class. Those were the underclassmen. Oh yeah, well there's James Hurley right there. At least he showed up for pictures. Yep, that's me. That's me, right next to Mike Nelson.
Look at that.
Yep, and there's Netter. Whoop, there's Netter right there.
Look at that.
Yep. Was the only way we could actually be in the same graduating class. Coupon for a free slice of pie at the Double R Diner.
Isn't that nice?
Coupons for Big Ed's Gas Farm. Oil change.
Get a free oil change, huh? Especially for the struggling student right out of high school, right?
Tim and Tom's Taxidermy.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they come up in the access guide too. It was an actually mentioned place. What else have I got here? What else? I got this is something that I think at some point in time I will be sharing. Oh, one of Waldo's feathers made it back. There's not really much to show here, but I have a script for they called it Northwest Passage. What it actually was a script for a season 3 fan film that they actually filmed. It was a fan film. Let's put it that way. And as far as the storyline goes, they didn't push the envelope, to actually go against anything that might be considered canon. But these are also fairly recent acquisitions. A couple more books, actually, that I hope Deleted Scenes will be reading in the near future. The Secret History of Twin Peaks and The Final Dossier, both by Mark Frost.
Okay.
Which you should read after having watched. Oh, and of course, I've also got the audio versions as well, which you should definitely read after we watch The Return, which we will be doing next week. At least that was the original plan.
Okay.
And that's my presentation, guys. There was a lot of other pictures I had to show that I either couldn't find or couldn't fit in. I know I have way more books. I have a lot more books. I'd say I have at least 6 or 7 books just about analyses. People have done scholarly books about David Lynch and his writing and stuff like that. There's another unauthorized, book about the town or whatever. Yeah. It's a heck of a collection. I'm glad I got the opportunity to share it. You'll notice that a lot of this stuff was fan-made stuff. I mean, very professional stuff. And like that one book that you were talking about, Age of Boomer, it was out in bookstores and so forth, behind the scenes and whatnot, but it wasn't necessarily put out by ABC or David Lynch or Mark Frost or whatever. And then of course there's all these fanzines, and whatnot. And again, this was how the fans shared their love of the show before the internet.
I used to have Doctor Who fanzines from back in the 80s. I think I got them. I think they were from Britain, of all places.
Yep.
Or me.
A buddy of mine got all of a bunch of fanzines, a bunch of the licensed magazines. He kept them in a big steamer trunk. You know, in fact, one of those magazines had the instructions, the colors and the stitches to make the scarf.
Oh wow! Oh, that's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Yep, and he had somebody make the scarf for him, and then he made me a photocopy of that page. And my mom had someone make the scarf for me, and then when I married Netter, I found out she had one too.
Huh.
I'll tell you, that scarf has about as much yarn in it as a whole friggin' Afghan.
Yeah.
Keep you
well,
warm though. Keep you warm though.
that was what was always fun about that scarf.
So, some of the things I didn't share, I have the patches for the Twin Peaks Sheriff Department. I was originally going to put together a costume, for the Twin Peaks Sheriff uniform. That's easily done. You know, it's pretty stock uniform. I never did get one of the hats, but I wanted to. Trying to think what else. I've got every physical media version of Twin Peaks that's come out, including the VHSs, the DVDs, the Blu-rays, HD, everything. I even have a screener. You know, when you work at a video store, when you used to work at a video store that rented VHS, you'd get screeners for movies and whatnot to watch and decide if you wanted to order copies of it to rent out. And I got the one for the European release of the pilot, I suppose you'd call it. But in a very Lynchian fashion, it didn't actually contain the movie. Every other screener you would get is the actual movie, and it would say like across the bottom, this is the property of 20th Century Fox or whatever, blah blah blah. You may not resell, you may not copy, blah blah blah, and this and that. And it was like through the whole show. You couldn't like take clips and not have that in there. But this particular one, it was just blank tape, and it was only about 3 minutes long. And the label on the outside said you didn't really think that we were going to give you a free copy of the most celebrated and anticipated blah 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 whatever. And I'm like, that's freaking awesome marketing.
That's fun.
I still have that. I just thought it was brilliant. And it turns out that it happened to be an item that I was talking to Josh Eisenstadt at one of the things, and he's like, no, I'd never heard about that. So when I got home, I took pictures of it and emailed them to him so that he could see what it looked like.
Cool.
So he at least knew what it was, what it looked like. But yeah. And I'm sure if I think of anything else, or I, find another piece of memorabilia that I didn't
always
share,
show it.
we'll show
sometime.
it in future weeks and whatnot.
Is there
I
any
want to
lost-
see. I want to see Deleted Scenes. Said he's got the card that shows his address in Twin Peaks. I want to see that.
Yeah,
When you find
I
it.
definitely have to track that down.
Yeah.
Is there any Lost Highway memorabilia?
Well, I mean, there's issues of both Blue Rose magazine and Wrapped in Plastic about it. There's whole books written analyzing it. Yeah, you'd be surprised. No action figures though. Just saying.
It was then that I found out that there were no rubber black action figures. I was crushed. Okay. Moving on.
Right.
Right.
So it's interesting. Now I'm thinking about it. I could totally do like a custom Mego Dale Cooper figure. That would actually be kind of easy.
Cool.
Dale Cooper. I used to have X-Files figures, but they were the McFarlane kind.
So like 6-inch.
Yeah, they were the more sculpted kind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was never real big on that's not my scale, and
Not your style. Yeah, I gotcha.
and yeah, those it's either the 3 3/4 inch, and for me 5 points of articulation is fine. The more the more posable newer figures are good too, and the 9-inch Migos. The thing about 9-inch Migos is they're easy to customize. You've seen some of the ones that I've been doing, so if it doesn't exist, you can make it because fans are doing the best work. So next week we kind of fast forward through 25 years, and we start the return. Any predictions? Deleted scenes? What are you expecting?
The
You've probably had some spoilers already, though, haven't you?
a few, but they were along the lines of what I figured was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking some of my theories might come to fruition here.
There were some things that I saw, like in Obnoxious and Anonymous's videos. I'm like, oh no, if he sees that. And then I realized that, like, some of the thumbnails and even, like, parts of the video, I'm like, if you haven't seen this show yet, this isn't a spoiler. It doesn't make a lick of sense.
No.
But I mean, if you've seen it, it's like, oh, yeah, okay. But if you haven't seen it, you're like, the hell am I looking at? I do feel like... Huh?
There are certain plot strands that are going to come into play, obviously. What's going to happen to Cooper now that he is infected by Bob?
Yeah.
Which is where we left off. Because remember, this show ended in cliffhanger, folks.
Yeah.
Well,
And we had to wait quite a long time. So
Well, this was the big
it's kind of
thing.
like...
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's kind of like, who shot JR? But we're going to wait 20 years to tell you.
Kind of.
Yeah, no.
That's kind of, yeah. If I can, I want to find the article that there was on the Twin Peaks wiki. Here it is. Is this it? No. Darn it. Let me try this. The Twin Peaks wiki. Here it is. Production material, production staff.
I'm definitely going in with no expectations. We're not going to get the answers to everything. I know that. I don't expect to. Even my own theories don't explain everything. So, yeah, I know. It's like I say on the show that the shortest point between shortest between 2 points is not necessarily a straight line. This is not going to be a straight line. So I'm well aware. So, yeah.
I had read an article for what they were going to do with if it had been renewed.
Oh, like what if we had gotten like a legit, well, not that the show time isn't legit, but if we had gotten a season
Here
3.
it is.
Yeah, right. Okay. Is this something we can put up, or?
I'm looking. I just want to make sure that I found it.
Okay.
That's not it. I don't know. I'll have to find it, and we can maybe we could start out next week, and I'll tell you guys about it. That'll give me a week to find it. And then I can tell you what the original original synopsis for what the original idea was that Lynch and Frost had, and then we can kind of dive into what we actually got,
Indeed.
Are you excited for season 3? Deleted scenes?
I certainly am. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, it's I was kind of looking back. Obviously, each season I am less familiar with because I watched the first one over and over and over again. Second one less so. Third one is fairly fresh. It only came out 2017, so there's only so many times you can watch it in that short span of time. So I was doing a little bit of review, getting ready for next week, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot. This was on Showtime."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This would be R-rated.
We're going to go more R-rated.
This is going to be R-rated. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. And what's cool is, so whereas your first 2 seasons are a commentary of television at the time, it was almost a parody of those nighttime dramas, right? Whereas Fire Walk with Me was more of a film noir sort of thing, more of a cinematic sort of take on things. And then The Return is a whole different medium altogether because it's streaming. And you'll get some of the feel of that too. What it's like to, put out a sort of television, but more,
Well, no, it was on actual Showtime too, wasn't it?
That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah. No, but I mean the cable channel.
Yes.
Yes.
You said it was streaming.
Yeah, that's considered to be streaming. Yeah.
Cable? Oh, I don't know.
The line has become very, very blurred because most people don't, even if it's on cable, don't watch it on cable.
Well, that's fine.
You get your cable, but you
mean
watch
streaming
it on
had been introduced when this series was on? Okay,
Sure.
I get what you're saying. Okay, all right, yeah. So most people probably watched it when it was streaming it rather than watching it on their cable channel. But I
Yeah.
think they could watch it on their cable channel. Yeah, they still had. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I understand. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And so there you go. That's. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to have to think through any commentary that I do. If there's any foreshadowing, I might point out foreshadowing, but it's all I can do. I can't jump ahead too much. I felt like I could do that a little bit more with things like Fire Walk with Me, because I'm like, there's really no spoilers here. This is a prequel. We all know where this ends up. And we kind of already covered, all the lines that told us what was happening. We're just getting it all filled in. But, of course, the other thing about Fire Walk with Me is it fills in some of the gaps of the story of Teresa Banks, which I think there will be more pieces to that puzzle filled in by Josh when he gets his crowdfund done for Teresa with a T. One hopes. So there you go. There you go. 25 years we waited.
Yes.
You guys, especially, I'm looking at you, Nate. I want to watch the 3rd season. Next we're going to watch the 3rd season, right? You guys are so antsy.
Well, we're getting through all the
I
Law and
waited
Orders.
for 25 years.
Well, I was going to say we're going to go through all the Law and Order series before we get to the season 3 of Twin Peaks,
You
right?
could do that.
I'm just.
I've got some of those on DVD. I'd rather do it with NCIS, though, but
Oh boy.
I have all of NCIS up to a certain
Do you have NCIS Sydney?
No.
You need to check out NCIS Sydney.
No, we don't.
It's in
There was only
Australia.
2 NCISs I liked. It was the original NCIS and NCIS New Orleans. Those two I love.
Sydney. They're in Australia. Don't ask me how that works. You got to watch the show to figure it out.
What was the one with Chris O'Donnell?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, I refused to watch that because I saw the Backdoor Pilot episode, and I'm like, no, he died. There is no way he survived. I refuse to accept that as canon.
You know what? You need to not watch Fast and the Furious movies because nobody dies in those. Even when they do die, they come back.
Oh, so they're written by the same people that do Star Wars.
Don't get
You be cut in half by a lightsaber, but you come back. You get stabbed in the gut with a lightsaber. You come
basically
back.
That's a rant for another stream.
Yeah.
Another thing with Fast and the Furious movies, this movie's villain, unredeemable villain, is now a good guy in the next movie. You know, and he's on the side. But it's about family. Just remember that, okay?
Family. It's about family.
It's all about family. Well, I mean, I don't know where they go with this in Bad Boys 4, but there's a character in 4 that kind of skirts the line of whether or not he should still be alive as well, but after doing a particular deed. But, yeah, well, I'll figure that out when I see part 4.
Okay, is it me or does Tubi have the best movie selection of any streaming service? You got Labyrinth.
They really have a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Showgirls. Come on, what more do you need? Zapped. Remember Zapped?
Zapped, yes.
Well, that's what
every high school boy would do with his powers. Yes.
I mean, look at this Piranha. I mean, it's got everything on here. This is like Jesus of Nazareth. Oh, that's the miniseries from the 70s. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here.
And of
course, a lot of good horror films.
Drive Angry with Nick Cage, and he drives angry in that movie.
There are some incredible sci-fi films on Tubi as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Stargate is on there.
There you go.
Original Stargate.
And of course, it is the 42nd anniversary of the John Carpenter version of The Thing.
Oh.
Yes.
Maybe that should be the good old days this Sunday. Did we ever do The Thing?
I don't think so.
All right. I don't know. Think about that.
Let's see.
Is it getting a theatrical release?
I know the 40th anniversary did.
Okay, so we gotta wait. They did. I did a 20th anniversary release for Ghost in the Shell 2: Innocence. That they did a anniversary screening for that this weekend. So I saw that. But yeah, it's weird how the anniversary seeing I get to see it on the big screen. When it was originally released, it wasn't shown anywhere in the United States. You know, it's like I don't know.
So I guess I should mention that Twin Peaks, if you want to watch it, is available to Paramount Plus subscribers.
Yay. Probably Showtime subscribers too, unless they include that with Paramount Plus now. Yeah.
Well, I have Paramount Plus because of the bundle with Amazon, so I get Shudder and Paramount Plus, and I think there's one other one in there.
I also own the digital version of The Return too on Vudu, which I'm sure will be censored one day without my knowing. I'm kidding.
And I have.
This is why I recommend you get the physical media.
I bought my sister a very nice Blu-ray set of the whole thing, so I can always bum it off her if I have to. But one day, but yeah.
There you go. Good way to catch up if you haven't seen it.
All right. Yes. So, yeah. Just stumbled over to my shelf, and here it is. This is season 3.
Yep, I remember that release.
So, of course, Laura on the back.
What do you? Okay, I actually have a question for you. What do you make of that cover deleted scenes? I'm just gonna ask.
Oh.
Do you have a guess since you already own it and you've already seen it?
I have not seen it.
Any guesswork on the cover if it means anything?
Well, I am aware that there is a duality, so to speak.
Okay. All right.
So that I am already aware of.
All right.
or had already figured. And of
Is
course,
it still in the plastic? Oh no, you opened it up. Okay, I
I
thought maybe
did
you were
open
leaving
it
it
up,
sealed to when you watched it.
but
Okay, yeah,
that's
there they are. Look
other
at all
discs.
those. Yeah. Mhm.
So when we do start watching next week,
Yeah.
so I'm going to use it.
You're all ready. You're all ready. That's good. Good.
I have been told that on
Yes.
occasions.
I've mentioned that to him a number of times. David Lynch is a character. He really is.
All right. Well,
Yep.
I think now is about a good time as I need to go ahead and wrap up this week's show. I would like to thank everybody who joined us today on Twitter. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I would like to thank everyone who joined us in the chat. Jaime, it was good to see you again. Been a while. Of course, Nate, Connie, Tim, JPRPH1, Big Al Presents. Welcome once again to Stevie J. Curtis was with us. And let me see, did I forget anyone? I'm sure I did. Mark Malnikoff. Stardate Trivia. All right. Lady Mist. Plush Time TV. Enigma Severus. All right. And I think that was everybody. And then, of course, to everybody who was lurking, because there's always a few, which is quite all right. You do not have to engage with the chat, just as long as you enjoyed the show. And hit the like, say hello in the comments, and all that good stuff. Okay, we're going to go around the horn one time. Boomer, what do you have coming up?
I'll be on stream with Troy Pacelli here this Friday. We will be on Last Call, and it will be about how work is the curse of the drinking class. That's the theme of the episode.
I suppose to some degree that's true.
And then Sunday is Geeky Geezers after your show, Unscripted. And it will be I don't know what we're going to talk about this Sunday. I think we sent some AI. It's all about AI is going to basically just take over and make all of our music and news articles and everything else for us, right? Actually, we'll be talking about other things besides that, but I don't like this AI stuff. I don't know how Troy is about it. He may be more open-minded than I am, but yeah, I don't know. That's just me. Okay, that's it. That's the Sunday.
All right.
For Geeky Geezers.
I have a very special guest coming up on Thursday for Thursday Things. She had a scheduling conflict last week, so this week we will be having Elon Carter coming in. She is a former Playboy Playmate, which I know you guys are going to want to come and check it out. She's also the daughter of the Temptations, so if you like those golden oldies, she'll probably be talking about her stepfather, or her father, who was one of the Temptations. And she's also modeled all over the world, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about, and I hope you guys tune in.
All right. Troy.
Yep. I will be guest hosting, of course, with Netter, as she said. I will be hosting Last Call, where, to put a finer point on it, I think we're going to be talking about some of my favorite cocktails, booze, bar accoutrement. Maybe I'll even wheel out the Carnarvon wagon on screen. We'll see. But just so you can see that it's real. But that may or may not happen, because the Carnarvon wagon is upstairs. Getting it downstairs might be a challenge, but we'll see. and that's 9 Central, 10 Eastern on my channel. Netter and I will both be guest hosting over on Big Al Presents Films with Friends this Saturday for those magnificent men and their flying machines. That's on Big Al's channel at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Saturday. And then, of course, Geeky Geezers with this little guy dressed in red here.
Who does the
backwards talking, right?
Yes, there you go. Yes.
All right. Well, that gets it on over to me. Of course, join me Thursday with Outlaw Bill and myself for Action Theater. Thursday at 4:30, and we are going to be watching Boy Kills World with Bill Skarsgård from earlier this year. We are going, and of course, right after Thursday Things is completed, come back over to my channel for the weekend update. Might get a chance to touch base with my subscribers and let everybody know what's coming up for the channel, including Western Cinema Presents Sunday at 4 p.m. again with Outlaw Bill and myself. And we are going to be watching John Wayne's last movie, The Shootist. Then later on that night will be Unscripted, an episode entitled Held for Questioning, where I finally you finally get to grill me. Yeah, the chat Q&A that I've been promising. We're finally going to do it this weekend, so get your questions ready. You can ask me anything short of anything that will get my channel yeeted, so have at me. And then, of course, right after that will be Geeky Geezers.
Yes.
And of course, right after Geeky Geezers will be The Other Side of Midnight. And there's somebody who is here to chat with us who, if he is able to join us, will be a first-time guest on the show. So you're going to have to watch to find out who that is. All righty. Well, that rounds it out for me. So, and of course, join us right back here, same bat time, same bat channel, for episode 1 of season 3, The Return.
Finally.
Yes. All right. And thank you to Jaime and also Curtis. All right. Any last words before we close it out?
See you in 25 years. We'll see you next week.
Or in 7 days, yeah.
Yes.
7 days.
Right.
Please don't bring up the ring to me.
I made the mistake of watching both movies back to back alone one night.
Yikes. Is the American or Japanese versions?
Oh, both. I watched both.
Okay. Oh, you watched the... Oh, I see. Those are the two
back.
You watched. You watched the...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
The original, yeah. And, yeah, the Japanese version's more messed up.
A little bit, yeah.
Way more messed up.
Same goes for The Grudge, but actually the Grudge American version had the same director, so there are some similarities with that in the original Japanese, because the guy actually got the same Japanese director to do the American remake.
He did. But there is a very well-timed death scene in the Japanese version that made me jump out of my socks, and that's not easy to do. So, yeah.
Huh.
I'll talk more about it backstage. But, yeah. All right, Netter, I know you usually have a closer. Please, if you would.
Sure. We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well good and fun. But it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat. And you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company and having a great time. And you guys, you know you're not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys and we appreciate you so very much. You can be anywhere and you're here. So thank you for encouraging us. Thank you for encouraging one another. I love seeing you guys on our streams, and I hope to see you all on Thursday. Prepare some questions for our guests if you like. Yeah, if you are a fan of the Temptations, back in the Motown sound, maybe you ask her some questions about her dad and the group, her stint on Soul Train, and her modeling career. So if you got any questions, make sure you prepare those beforehand. And until then, good night and God bless.
And as I always say, thank you all very much once again for joining us on our adventure through the town of Twin Peaks. We will return next week from HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night, take care, stay strong, because this is how we win.
Was it seduction or illusion? Deception or murder? Nothing is what it seems in a town like Twin Peaks. Starring Kyle MacLachlan, Michael Onkey, Laura Flynn Boyle, Sherilyn Fenn, and Joan Chen. And now you can fall back into the mystery, or begin your search for the first time every Tuesday night with a new episode hosted by a panel of superfans. Watch live for the audio commentary. No one is innocent